It begins, not with a shout, but with a tremor, deep within the bedrock of your being, a vibration older than the first spark of consciousness, older than the pyramids scraping the sky, older than the wheel carving its first path in the dust. It's the silent primordial fire that forged empires from wilderness and symphonies from silence. The ancient alchemists sought it in crucibles and stars. The conquering legions harnessed it to march beyond the known world. The lone inventor knelt before its relentless glow in a dim workshop. It is the unspoken covenant between the human spirit and the vast, indifferent universe. Belief. Not a wish. Not a hope. Not a fragile maybe. But the unshakable, ironclad blood and bone knowing that what the mind can conceive and believe, the mind can achieve. This is the secret weapon Napoleon Hill spent a lifetime uncovering, dissecting, and presenting to the world. The weapon ignored by the masses, yet wielded with ruthless precision by every titan who ever bent reality to their will. Carnegie knew it. Ford lived it. Edison breathed it through 10,000 failed filaments, and it lies dormant now, within you, a sleeping giant, a coiled spring, the master key rusting in the lock of your boundless potential. This isn't about positive thinking. This is about primal architecture. Belief is the bedrock upon which every empire of the mind, every fortune, every legacy of lasting impact is built. It's the invisible scaffold holding up your reality. Shatter that scaffold with doubt, and your world collapses into noise and shadows. Forge it in the furnace of absolute conviction, and you command the very gravity of possibility. They called it madness when Columbus sailed west. They called it folly when the Wright brothers dreamed of flight. They called it impossible when a lanky lawyer named Lincoln refused to let a fractured nation die. What did they possess that others lacked? Not just vision, but the indomitable belief that their vision was not a phantom, but a destination they would reach, regardless of the tempests, the naysayers, the sheer crushing weight of apparent impossibility. That belief wasn't passive. It was a roaring engine. It fueled relentless action, attracted crucial alliances like iron filings to a magnet, and transformed staggering setbacks into mere stepping stones. Hill saw it. He codified it. He witnessed how this single force, raw, unadulterated belief, separated the architects of destiny from the tenants of circumstance. It's the difference between sketching a castle in the sand and quarrying the granite, laying the foundation, and raising the towers, stone by agonizing stone, while the tides of doubt crash endlessly at your feet. Your belief is the quarry. It's the chisel. It's the unwavering hand that shapes the stone. Without it, the grandest vision is dust. With it, the dust becomes a monument. Feel it now, that quiet hum beneath the static of your daily thoughts, the silent whisper that says there is more. That's the ember, the echo of the primordial fire. But an ember ignored is an ember extinguished. We smother it daily. We drown it in the cacophony of the external world, the curated perfection of screens, the relentless drumbeat of bad news, the insidious comparisons that chip away at our sense of worth. We let the algorithms dictate our mood, the opinions of strangers shape our value, the temporary setbacks define our permanence. We forget the weapon we hold. We trade the architect's compass for the wanderer's stick. Hill didn't just discover belief. He discovered the systematic assassination of belief conducted by a world terrified of its power. Doubt is the assassin's blade, polished by fear and wielded by ignorance, often our own. It whispers the oldest lies. You're not ready. You're not good enough. It's been done before. It's too late. Who do you think you are? Listen closely. These aren't truths. They are mental viruses replicating in the fertile ground of unguarded thought. Edison didn't hear 10,000 failures. He heard 10,000 ways light won't work, yet. Carnegie, rising from telegraph boy to steel colossus, didn't believe in limitations. He believed in the limitless potential of applied effort and unwavering faith in his own capacity to learn, adapt, and conquer. His belief wasn't blind optimism. It was a calculated, burning conviction forged in the observation of cause and effect, of persistence meeting opportunity. He saw belief as the essential catalyst. Your mind isn't a passive observer of your life, it's the command center. Every thought is a command. Every belief is a blueprint sent to the workshop of creation. What blueprints are you sending? Are they clear, bold, defiant structures of ambition and self-worth? Or are they shaky, scribbled notes of fear and inadequacy? The universe, in its relentless neutrality, simply builds what you command it to build. It doesn't judge the blueprint. It executes it with terrifying efficiency. If you believe yourself small, incapable, destined for mediocrity, that is the edifice that will rise around you, stone by heavy stone. But if you command it with the granite belief of a Carnegie, the relentless curiosity of an Edison, the unwavering moral compass of a Lincoln, the universe has no choice but to yield. It must conspire to bring you the people, the resources, the breaks that align with the frequency of your conviction. This isn't mysticism. It's the fundamental physics of consciousness meeting action. Belief is the ignition spark for the engine of your will. Without that spark, all the fuel of talent, opportunity, and hard work is inert, useless. With it, the engine roars to life, capable of moving mountains. So how? How do we move from the flickering ember to the roaring furnace? How do we forge this weapon from the flimsy metal of wishful thinking into the indestructible alloy of absolute conviction? It starts with clarity of purpose. Not a vague notion, not a fuzzy "I want to be successful." That's meaningless static. Hill demanded a definite chief aim, a target so clear, so vivid, so charged with personal meaning that it becomes a gravitational force in your life. See it. Not with the casual glance of a daydream, but with the intense, burning focus of a sculptor seeing the form within the marble. What is the one thing? The mountain you were born to climb. The song only you can sing, the problem only you can solve. Define it with razor precision. Write it down. Carve it into your awareness. Make it so real you can taste its success, feel its texture, hear the resonance of its achievement. This clarity is the compass needle. Without it, belief wanders, dissipates, gets lost in the undergrowth of distraction. With it, belief finds its true north. It becomes focused energy, a laser beam cutting through the fog of uncertainty. This purpose isn't selfish. It's the alignment of your deepest gifts with a need in the world. It's your unique offering to the grand tapestry. Finding it requires ruthless honesty. Shed the expectations, parental, societal, self-imposed. Dig beneath the layers of should and could, to the volcanic core of must. What makes your pulse quicken? What injustice ignites your fury? What creation demands your hands? That's your territory. That's where your belief will find its most fertile ground. Henry Ford didn't just want to build cars. He believed in democratizing transportation, in putting the world on wheels. That massive, world-altering purpose focused his belief like sunlight through a magnifying glass, igniting relentless innovation and overcoming impossible odds. Walt Disney didn't just want to draw cartoons. He believed in the power of wonder, in creating worlds where imagination reigned supreme. That unwavering belief in his purpose carried him through bankruptcy, ridicule, and technical nightmares to build an empire of enchantment. Your purpose is the anchor for your belief. Find it. Define it with ferocious clarity. Then let that purpose become the immovable object against which the waves of doubt break and recede. This clarity isn't a one-time event. It's the daily ritual of recentering. It's looking at the written statement of your aim every morning and saying, This is why. It's the constant refinement, the deepening understanding of what this purpose demands of you. It's the bedrock upon which the fortress of belief is built. But belief, even anchored by purpose, is not a magic wand. It is not a passive state of grace. Belief without disciplined action is merely hallucination. It's the architect admiring the blueprint while the site remains barren. Hill understood this intimately. He called it applied faith. Faith in action, faith sweating, striving, doing. This is where the weapon meets the whetstone. This is where the furnace of belief forges the steel of character. Discipline is the translation of belief into the relentless, daily language of effort. It's the unwavering commitment to show up when inspiration is a ghost, when motivation is a traitor, when the world screams quit. It's Edison in his lab, night after night, filament after filament. It's Lincoln studying law by firelight after a brutal day of labor. It's Carnegie mastering the intricacies of steel, finance, and human nature through relentless study and application. Their belief wasn't a comfortable cushion. It was a relentless driver. It demanded action. Specific, focused, consistent action aligned with their definite purpose. This discipline isn't punishment. It's devotion. It's the sacred ritual of honoring your belief through effort. You build the neural pathways of success one repetition at a time. You build the momentum of achievement, one task, 1 hour, one focused burst of energy after another. The universe responds to motion. Belief sets the destination. Disciplined action charts the course and propels the vessel. Without this translation, belief becomes stagnant water, breeding mosquitoes of doubt and regret. With it, belief becomes a mighty river, carving canyons through mountains of resistance. Start small, yes, but start now. That first action, no matter how seemingly insignificant, is the spark that ignites the engine. It's the declaration to the universe, and more importantly, to yourself. I believe this enough to move. That movement generates evidence. Evidence fuels greater belief. Greater belief fuels bolder action. It's the virtuous cycle that builds empires, internal and external. Feel the friction? That's the resistance. The inertia of old habits, the seductive whisper of comfort, the gravitational pull of mediocrity. Your belief, amplified by disciplined action, is the rocket fuel needed to break that gravity. Embrace the friction. Lean into the discomfort. It's the crucible where ordinary metal is transformed into the extraordinary steel of champions. This is the daily grind where fortunes are forged and destinies are claimed. Not in the grand, sweeping gestures alone, but in the quiet, relentless consistency of showing up, doing the work, and trusting that the compound interest of belief-fueled action pays dividends beyond measure. Remember Ford's assembly line? It wasn't just a manufacturing innovation. It was a monument to disciplined action, 1,000 small, precise motions repeated with unwavering belief in the final product. Your life is your assembly line. What masterpiece are you building? One disciplined action at a time. The friction is real. The path ahead isn't paved with gold, but strewn with the jagged stones of setback, the sudden chasms of failure, the howling winds of criticism. This is where the cheap imitations of belief, the fleeting affirmations, the surface-level optimism shatter like glass. But your belief, the primal weapon forged in the furnace of clarity and hardened by disciplined action, this is where it proves its mettle. This is where resilience, born from the marrow of conviction, takes the stage. It's not the absence of falling. It's the ferocious, unwavering certainty that you will rise every single time. Think of Lincoln. Not the marble monument, but the man. Defeated in business, crushed in love, routed in elections, 8 major political losses before finally reaching the pinnacle, only to inherit a nation tearing itself apart. What force propelled him through that relentless storm of adversity? It wasn't mere hope. It was the bedrock belief in the Union, in the principle of human dignity, a belief so profound it became his spine. When armies clashed and cities burned, when advisers wavered and the nation despaired, Lincoln's belief was the immovable center. He understood what Hill later codified. Obstacles are not stop signs. They are detour markers on the road to ultimate achievement, often placed there deliberately to test the strength of your desire and the depth of your conviction. Your failure isn't the universe rejecting you, it's the universe refining you. Edison didn't fail 10,000 times. He conducted 10,000 experiments, each one a necessary step, each no bringing him irrevocably closer to the incandescent yes. His belief transformed failure from an ending into essential data, fuel for the relentless engine of progress. This resilience isn't stoic endurance alone, it's adaptability, the fluid intelligence that bends without breaking. The Wright brothers didn't stubbornly crash the same design into the sand dunes at Kitty Hawk. They observed, learned, adjusted. They adapted their wing warping, their controls, their very understanding of lift with each failed attempt. Their core belief in human flight remained unshakable, but their methods evolved with ruthless pragmatism. Carnegie didn't cling blindly to outdated steel-making processes. He voraciously sought the Bessemer method, adapted it, perfected it, revolutionizing an industry. Your definite chief aim is your fixed star, but the path to reach it will twist and turn. Clinging rigidly to how you thought it should happen is the arrogance that kills belief. True belief is powerful enough to be flexible in its tactics, humble enough to learn from the impact, and wise enough to pivot without losing sight of the ultimate destination. The assassin's blade of doubt strikes hardest when you're down. It whispers, "See? I told you it was impossible. Give up. Accept your place." This is the critical moment. This is where you deploy autosuggestion, not as a fluffy mantra, but as a conscious, deliberate command to your subconscious mind. You flood the internal battlefield with reinforcements. You replay the clarity of your purpose. You recall past victories, however small. You bombard your mind with the feeling of achieved success, the visceral sensation of standing on that mountaintop you defined. You consciously reject the invading thoughts of defeat and replace them with the iron commands of your belief. I am capable. I will find a way. This setback is temporary. My purpose demands my persistence. You become the relentless broadcaster to your own deepest self, overriding the static of fear with the clear signal of conviction. Lincoln did this through profound reflection and writing. Edison did it by immediately reframing failure as progress. You do it by conscious, daily mental hygiene, guarding the gates of your mind like a Spartan at Thermopylae. And intertwined with this fierce resilience is gratitude. Not a passive thank you, but an active, magnetic force field. Hill understood its power not as polite sentimentality, but as a critical element of the success mindset. In the midst of the struggle, gratitude shifts your frequency. When the factory burns down, gratitude focuses you on the insurance check, the skilled workforce still loyal, the lessons learned about fireproofing. It forces you to scan the wreckage not just for loss, but for the unburned seeds of opportunity. It's not denial, it's strategic focus. It attracts more of what you appreciate. Ford, facing production hell and labor disputes, cultivated gratitude for the sheer idea of the automobile, for the mechanics who believed, for the resources still at hand. This grateful focus wasn't naive. It was a powerful lens that filtered out despair and magnified possibility, attracting solutions and allies aligned with that positive, expectant energy. In your darkest hour, force your mind to list 3 things related to your purpose that you are genuinely, fiercely grateful for. Feel that gratitude ignite a small flame against the cold. It's oxygen for your belief. This weapon, this fusion of primordial belief, clarity of purpose, disciplined action, unbreakable resilience, fluid adaptability, commanding autosuggestion, and magnetic gratitude, is not kept under glass. It is not a relic of Carnegie's age or Edison's workshop. It pulses now, right now, within the chamber of your own consciousness. It is your birthright, your hidden arsenal. The master key to vaults of potential you've barely dared to imagine. Napoleon Hill didn't unearth it for a select few. He mapped its coordinates for you. For the single mother building an empire from her kitchen table between shifts. For the artist facing the blank canvas and the mocking inner critic. For the student buried in debt, dreaming of impact. For the executive staring at the spreadsheet, knowing there must be more. For anyone who has ever felt that tremor, that whisper, that knowing that they were built for something greater than the script they've been handed. Look at the world not as it is presented, a chaotic, indifferent, often hostile place, but as raw material. See the doubters not as enemies, but as those who haven't yet discovered their own weapon. See the obstacles not as walls, but as the anvil upon which your belief will be hammered into unbreakable resolve. Feel the weight of history, not as a burden, but as proof. Proof in the steel bridges Carnegie built across chasms of impossibility. Proof in the incandescent light banishing darkness because Edison refused the finality of no. Proof in the preserved union, forged in the fire of Lincoln's unwavering conviction. Proof that belief, when it is this deep, this clear, this disciplined, this resilient, this adaptable, this commanding and this grateful, is not a theory. It is the fundamental law of human achievement. It is the architect of reality. So ignite it. Fan that ember into a conflagration that consumes doubt. Define your mountain with such searing clarity it becomes your only horizon. Move, act, sweat, build momentum through relentless, focused effort. When you fall, and you will fall, rise with the ferocity of a titan remembering their power. Adapt, learn, pivot without surrendering the summit. Flood your inner world with the commands of your certainty. Find the fierce gratitude in the struggle itself, for it is the proving ground of giants. This is not about wishing. This is about building. Building the life, the legacy, the impact that echoes your deepest truth. Your belief is the foundation. Your belief is the blueprint. Your belief is the unstoppable force. The world does not give you what you want. It yields to what you unshakably believe you deserve and are determined to create. Seize the weapon. Forge your reality. The secret is out. The secret is within. Now command it, and then listen. For the weapon of belief is not a monologue shouted into the void. It is a dialogue with the universe itself, a conversation conducted through the subtle language of applied learning and keen observation. Edison didn't just believe blindly, he dissected failure. Every shattered filament, every sputtering vacuum, every dead end was a page in a brutal, invaluable textbook. He approached the unknown not with arrogance, but with the ruthless curiosity of a hunter tracking elusive prey. He understood what Hill knew. Knowledge is not static. It is the living, breathing fuel for belief, forged in the furnace of experience and relentless inquiry. Your belief becomes exponentially more potent when it is fed by an insatiable hunger to understand why things work, how systems function, what makes people tick, where the currents of opportunity truly flow. Carnegie didn't rise by brute force alone. He became a voracious student of human nature, of finance, of the intricate dance of supply and demand. He turned every interaction, every negotiation, every setback into a masterclass. He listened, not just to the words spoken, but to the ambitions unspoken, the fears hidden, the leverage points invisible to the untrained eye. His belief in his own capacity to learn and adapt was the engine that drove his ascent. This is the mastermind principle in its raw, dynamic form. Not just a council of advisors, but a state of mind. An openness so profound it transforms every person you meet, every book you read, every obstacle you encounter into a teacher. Lincoln, surrounded by chaos and conflicting counsel, immersed himself in military strategy, constitutional law, the psychology of a nation at war with itself. He studied his way towards the clarity needed to wield his unwavering belief in the Union's survival with strategic precision. Your belief must be a sponge, not a stone. It must be willing to absorb new data, to refine its understanding, to shed outdated assumptions with the cold detachment of a scientist discarding a failed hypothesis. The universe responds to the frequency of your belief, but it delivers its answers, its opportunities, its crucial insights through the channel of your attentiveness. Are you tuned in? Or are you broadcasting your desires on a loop, deaf to the whispers of guidance, the subtle nudges, the patterns emerging in the chaos? The Wright brothers didn't just believe they could fly. They became obsessed with the physics of lift, the structure of bird bones, the behavior of wind over curved surfaces. They learned their way into the sky. Your journey demands the same. Let your unwavering belief in the destination be matched by an equally unwavering commitment to mastering the terrain. Study the maps left by the giants, not to copy their path, but to understand the principles that allowed them to carve theirs. Observe the market, the technology, the human heart with the intensity of an explorer charting unknown lands. Ask better questions. Seek not just confirmation, but illumination. For every nugget of genuine understanding, every hard-won skill, every profound insight adds mass and velocity to your belief. It transforms blind faith into informed conviction, the most unstoppable force on earth. This informed conviction, this belief forged in the fires of learning and observation, naturally attracts its most critical reinforcement, the alliance of giants. Hill didn't call it networking. He called it the Mastermind Alliance, the deliberate, strategic convergence of minds united by a common purpose or complementary power. Belief is magnetic, but its pull is amplified 1,000-fold when resonant frequencies align. Think of it. Ford didn't build an empire alone. He attracted brilliant engineers like Harold Wills, production savants like Charles Sorensen, financial wizards like James Couzens. His unwavering belief in the automobile's democratization became a gravitational field, pulling towards him the very talent needed to manifest the impossible. Carnegie surrounded himself with prodigies like Charles Schwab, Henry Phipps, the enigmatic Henry Clay Frick, men whose strengths compensated for his own perceived limitations, whose collective intellect and drive multiplied his own. Their alliance wasn't a casual club, it was a psychic battery, a fusion reactor of focused belief and complementary skill. Lincoln, facing annihilation, formed his team of rivals, Seward, Chase, Stanton, not despite their ambition, but because of their formidable, albeit conflicting, talents. He understood that the colossal belief required to save the Union needed the catalytic energy of fierce, diverse minds clashing and coalescing around the unshakable core objective. Your belief, when it burns with the clarity and intensity we've forged, becomes a beacon. It signals to others operating on the same frequency. Here is purpose. Here is conviction. Here is the potential for monumental creation. You are not seeking followers, you are summoning co-architects. You are attracting those whose unique genius, whose complementary fire, whose resources or perspective accelerate the manifestation of your definite chief aim. This requires discernment. Not every eager hand is the right hand. You seek those whose character is bedrock, whose own belief is strong, whose values resonate with the core of your purpose. You seek those who challenge you constructively, who fill your blind spots, who bring fuel to your fire, not those who seek to dampen it or steal its warmth. Building this alliance is an act of profound belief in others as well as yourself. It requires vulnerability, the willingness to admit you don't have all the answers, that your vision needs their unique brilliance to reach its full, world-shaking potential. It requires generosity, a genuine desire to see them succeed through the shared mission. And it requires unwavering leadership, the ability to hold the central vision aloft, to resolve conflicts, to channel the collective energy towards the singular peak. The strength of your core belief determines the caliber of allies you attract. Weak belief attracts parasites and doubters. Ironclad, purpose-driven belief attracts titans. Look around you now. Who vibrates at the frequency of your ambition? Who possesses the missing pieces? Your belief is the summoning circle. Activate it. Reach out. Build not a team, but a legion of belief. This legion, this fusion of your indomitable belief and the collective power of aligned giants, exists for one purpose only: creation. Not just activity, not just motion, but the deliberate, sustained, awe-inspiring act of bringing the unseen into being. This is the ultimate expression of the weapon. This is where belief sheds its theoretical skin and becomes living, breathing reality, a monument carved from the raw granite of the impossible. Disney didn't just believe in wonder, he built Snow White, against every ounce of financial logic and technical limitation. He faced bankruptcy, ridicule, the sheer exhaustion of his team. But his belief was a physical force, translating sketches into celluloid magic, fairy tales into cultural landmarks. He created a new form of storytelling, a new geography of the imagination. Ford didn't just believe in affordable cars. He built the Model T and the assembly line that birthed the modern industrial age. He faced production hell, supply chain nightmares, entrenched competition. But his belief became steel, rubber, pistons firing in perfect sequence, a machine that moved not just vehicles but humanity itself forward. Edison didn't just believe in light. He built the grid, the generators, the entire infrastructure of illumination. He faced darkness, doubt, and the terrifying void of the unknown, armed only with his relentless belief and the data from 10,000 experiments. He created the literal removal of night for millions. Their belief wasn't a feeling, it was a generative force. It was the alchemy that turned thought into thing, vision into vista, desire into dominion. This is the crucible where your weapon proves its worth. In the sustained, focused, often grueling act of making the intangible tangible, it's the writer facing the blank page day after day, fueled by the belief that the story must be told. It's the entrepreneur coding through the night, driven by the belief that this solution will change lives. It's the scientist at the microscope, the teacher shaping young minds, the artist chiseling stone, all channeling their unwavering belief into the persistent, meticulous work of creation. This phase demands the deepest reserves of your forged resilience. There will be days when the vision fogs, when the momentum stalls, when the doubters roar. This is where your definite chief aim, etched into your soul, becomes your anchor. This is where your disciplined action, honed into ritual, becomes your engine. This is where your mastermind alliance becomes your fortress and your fuel. And this is where your applied learning provides the ingenious solutions to unforeseen obstacles. Creation is messy, it is iterative, it demands sacrifice. It requires staring into the abyss between your current reality and your envisioned future and refusing to blink. But with each brick laid, each line of code written, each connection forged, each small victory earned, your belief doesn't just sustain you, it expands, it gains mass, it generates its own gravitational field, pulling more resources, more opportunities, more confirming evidence into its orbit. The universe respects builders. It yields to creators. It conspires with those who dare to make their belief visible. Your creation is your ultimate argument against doubt, your monument to the power within. And as you build, as you create, as your belief manifests in the physical realm, a profound shift occurs within. This is the alchemy of self. The journey of wielding this weapon, confronting doubt, defining purpose, enduring friction, adapting, learning, allying, creating, doesn't just build empires out there. It forges an unconquerable empire within. The person who timidly grasped the weapon at the start of this journey is gone. In their place stands the self-reliant sovereign. Hill's entire philosophy culminates in this, the realization that the ultimate power, the ultimate achievement, is the mastery of one's own mind, the unwavering command of one's own belief. Carnegie, the Steel King, ultimately understood his greatest creation wasn't his fortune, but the disciplined, big, resilient, belief-driven mind that built it. Edison's true monument wasn't the light bulb, but the indomitable spirit of inquiry and persistence that refused to be extinguished. Lincoln's legacy wasn't just a preserved nation, but the embodiment of moral conviction and resilience under unimaginable pressure. The external achievements are the proof, the tangible evidence. But the internal transformation, the forging of an unshakable core, the death of the victim mindset, the birth of the conscious creator, this is the true fortune. This is the supreme secret Hill dedicated his life to revealing. You become the captain of your soul, the master of your fate, not through wishful thinking, but through the relentless, disciplined application of belief in action. You shed the layers of limitation imposed by society, by circumstance, by your own past doubts. You step into the authority granted by your own proven capacity to conceive, believe, and achieve. Fear loses its grip, not because threats vanish, but because your belief in your capacity to handle them becomes unassailable. Setbacks become data points, not death sentences. Criticism becomes noise, not truth. You operate from a place of profound inner resource, knowing the weapon is always sheathed within your consciousness, ready to be drawn. This self-mastery is the highest dividend of the journey. It is the ultimate yield of your belief investment. And it radiates outwards, influencing every interaction, every decision, every creation yet to come. You no longer seek validation, you emanate conviction. You no longer chase success, you define it from the inside out, aligned with your deepest purpose. This is the state of being Hill described as the magic of believing. It's not magic, it's the hard-won mastery of the most potent force available to the human spirit. So stand now, builder of realms, sovereign of your mind, wielder of the primal fire. Look back at the path forged through doubt's wilderness. Feel the weight of the weapon in your grasp, no longer unfamiliar steel, but an extension of your own will, tempered in the fires of adversity, sharpened by relentless learning, amplified by chosen alliance, proven in the act of creation. You hold what Napoleon Hill spent a lifetime proving. The secret weapon is real, and it has always been you, your belief, not as a passenger, not as a hopeful spectator, but as the conscious, commanding architect of your destiny. The world you inherited is dissolving. The old maps are burning. The noise is deafening. This is not your curse. This is your forging ground. This chaos is the raw ore awaiting the touch of your conviction. Every crisis is a blank page demanding your blueprint. Every disruption is an invitation to innovate, to lead, to build anew. You possess the same fundamental weapon that raised the pyramids, that charted the stars, that lit the darkness, that freed the enslaved, that put wings on humanity. The same weapon Carnegie used to reshape industry, Edison used to conquer night, Ford used to mobilize the world, Disney used to re-enchant it, Lincoln used to hold a fractured dream together against the tide of oblivion. The physics of achievement haven't changed. The law is immutable. What the mind can conceive and believe, the mind can achieve. The conception is yours, the belief is yours, the achievement awaits your command. Stop waiting for permission. Stop seeking the perfect moment. Stop feeding the ghosts of doubt. The moment is now. The permission comes from within. The doubt is banished by action. Ignite the furnace of your belief with clarity. Define your mountain. Write it, see it, feel its peak beneath your feet. Let it be your non-negotiable horizon. Forge your weapon daily through discipline. Move, act, sweat. Show up when every cell screams retreat. Let your relentless effort be the hammer shaping your reality. Temper it in the icy waters of adversity. Rise, every timed. Learn. Pivot. Let resilience be your unbreakable spine. Sharpen it with knowledge. Observe, study, listen. Absorb the wisdom of giants and the lessons of the fall. Let understanding be your whetstone. Amplify its power through alliance. Seek the giants. Build the legion. Connect with resonant souls. Let collective belief be your force multiplier. Wield it in the relentless act of creation. Build. Make. Do. Translate your vision into tangible form, brick by agonizing brick. Let your creation be your argument and your monument. Feel the power surging? That's not hype. That's the awakened current of your own limitless potential. That's the universe aligning, not to your wishes, but to your unadulterated, unshakable, demonstrated belief. The secret is out. The secret was always within. Napoleon Hill merely handed you the map. The territory is yours to claim. The weapon is yours to command. So command it. Today, now. This very breath. Build your legacy. Forge your fortune. Ignite your impact. The world isn't waiting for you to be ready. It's waiting for you to believe. Truly, fiercely, unapologetically. And then, to begin. Creation demands fuel. Not just the sweat of your brow or the fire in your spirit, but the sustained resonance of unbroken focus. The world is a vortex of distraction, a relentless assault on the single-pointed intensity your belief requires to manifest the monumental. This isn't about willpower alone. It's about architecting your reality's frequency. Think of Rockefeller. Not just the oil titan, but the man obsessed with order, efficiency, and the unwavering focus that turned chaotic competition into an empire of unprecedented scale. His belief in systematization, in the power of concentrated effort, directed with laser precision, wasn't a quirk. It was the structural steel of his achievement. He understood what Hill emphasized. The drifting mind can never command power. It is the focused mind that becomes a magnet for the resources it requires. Your belief is the generator, but focus is the transmission line. Without it, the energy dissipates, wasted in the static of trivialities, the seductive drama of the irrelevant, the endless scroll of digital noise. Carnegie mastered this by ruthlessly prioritizing, delegating tasks outside his genius, and guarding his mental space for the strategic decisions only he could make. He knew that the weapon of belief dulls when spread thin. It sharpens only under the intense pressure of concentrated application. How do you achieve this Rockefeller-like focus in an age designed to shatter it? You build a belief scaffold. You engineer your environment, your habits, your inputs to support your definite chief aim, not sabotage it. This means ruthless elimination. Purge the time-sucking vampires disguised as entertainment or connection. Silence the notifications that fracture your mental continuum. Curate your information diet. Feed your mind the raw materials of your purpose, not the junk food of despair and distraction. It means intentional design. Craft sacred spaces for deep work, physical and mental bunkers where your belief can resonate undisturbed. Establish rituals that signal to your subconscious. Now we build. The morning hours, untouched by the world's demands, are often the purest fuel for focused belief. Ford understood this, rising before dawn to think, plan, and commune with the clarity of his vision while the world slept. This scaffold isn't a cage. It's the trellis that allows the vine of your belief to climb towards the sun, unencumbered by weeds. It's the Wright brothers retreating to the windswept isolation of Kitty Hawk, away from the skeptics and the noise, to focus solely on the physics of flight. Your belief needs this protected space to vibrate at its highest, most potent frequency. Protect it like the crown jewel it is. For in that sustained resonance lies the power to bend time, to compress effort, to attract the synchronicities that feel like magic, but are simply the universe responding to a signal too clear, too strong to ignore. And within this focused resonance, a critical transformation occurs. The death of scarcity, the birth of legacy mindset. The untrained belief, flickering in the winds of circumstance, operates from lack. It sees limitations, competitors, finite pies to be fought over. It breeds fear, hoarding, small-minded competition. But the belief forged in the fires we've described, clarified, disciplined, resilient, adaptable, focused, allied, and actively creating, transcends this primitive frequency. It vibrates with abundance. Hill saw this shift in every titan he studied. Carnegie, once a ruthless competitor, ultimately believed in the abundance of human potential so profoundly he dedicated his fortune to unleashing it through libraries and education. Rockefeller, after building an empire on oil, shifted his belief to the abundance of human well-being, funding medical breakthroughs that saved millions. Their core belief expanded beyond personal gain to encompass the betterment of mankind. This isn't altruism as an afterthought, it's the inevitable evolution of ironclad belief. When you know, deep in your marrow, that your definite chief aim is aligned with a fundamental need or potential in the universe, you stop competing and start contributing. You see resources not as things to grab, but as currents to channel towards your creation. You see other achievers not as threats, but as proof of principle, as potential allies in the grand project of progress. Edison didn't hoard his discoveries. He built systems, General Electric, to proliferate light, believing in the abundance of human ingenuity his work could unlock. Ford's $5 workday wasn't just charity. It was a belief in the abundance created by empowering workers to become consumers, fueling the very market his cars needed. Your belief, when it reaches this altitude, becomes legacy-driven. You begin to ask not just what can I build, but what will this building do? Who will it shelter? What light will it cast for generations unseen? Lincoln's belief wasn't just in preserving the Union, it was in the idea of America, a legacy of self-governance he was willing to sacrifice everything to protect for the future. This legacy mindset is the ultimate amplifier. It attracts higher-caliber allies motivated by meaning, not just money. It unlocks reserves of perseverance you never knew existed. It imbues the daily grind with profound significance. When you hit the inevitable wall, the question shifts from, why is this so hard for me, to how does overcoming this specific obstacle serve the greater purpose, the lasting impact? Your belief becomes a self-replenishing wellspring, fed by the understanding that you are part of something vast, something enduring. You are no longer just building a business, you are building a beacon. You are not just creating art, you are encoding meaning for the human soul. You are not just solving a problem, you are forging a pathway for others to follow. This is the realm where belief transcends the personal and touches the eternal. This is where you become a steward of potential, an architect of tomorrow. Your definite chief aim evolves from a target into a torch passed forward. But beware, the fortress of belief, however strong, faces constant siege. The enemy isn't just external doubt, it's the insidious creep of complacency. The subtle whisper that says good enough, the seductive comfort of the plateau reached, the minor victory celebrated just a little too long. This is where giants stumble. This is where empires rust. Hill called it the most dangerous of all the enemies to achievement, the satisfaction of mediocrity. Carnegie saw it in competitors who, upon gaining a slight advantage, stopped innovating, stopped pushing, stopped believing in the next frontier, and were inevitably crushed by those whose belief still burned white-hot. Ford nearly succumbed to it himself, clinging to the Model T while competitors innovated, believing his creation was the final word, not the first chapter. It took near collapse to reignite the furnace of his adaptability and belief in constant evolution. Your belief is not a monument to be admired. It is a living fire that demands constant feeding. The moment you stop defining new mountains, the moment your definite chief aim loses its razor edge of challenge, the weapon begins to dull. The universe respects relentless becoming, not static having. Edison, even after the light bulb, plunged into motion pictures, sound recording, mining technology. His belief in the power of applied ingenuity was insatiable. How do you guard against this creep? Embrace the constructive dissatisfaction. Let every achievement, however significant, be merely a base camp for the next ascent. Build into your belief system the mandate of perpetual refinement. Ask constantly, how can this be better? How can this reach further? How can this serve more deeply? Not from a place of neurotic lack, but from the expansive belief that your potential and the potential of your creation is infinite. This is the mindset that transforms successful entrepreneurs into visionary institution builders, skilled artists into cultural icons, effective leaders into legends. It's Disney, not resting on Snow White but dreaming of Disneyland, then Epcot, pushing the boundaries of experience and technology until his last breath. It's Bezos, turning a bookstore into an everything store, then cloud computing, then space exploration. Driven by a belief in infinite scalability and customer-centric innovation that refuses to plateau. Your definite chief aim needs evolving horizons. Revisit it quarterly. Challenge it. Expand it. Let your growing belief, proven through achievement, fuel the courage to aim for magnitudes grander. Complacency is the silent killer of destiny. Constructive dissatisfaction is its lifeblood. Keep the fire hungry. Keep the blade sharp. Keep reaching for the next resonance. The next frequency of impact only your amplified belief can achieve. This relentless forward thrust, this refusal to plateau, demands the mastery of inner resonance. Beyond affirmations, beyond visualization, lies the somatic command, the embodiment of belief so profound it rewires your very physiology, your presence, your aura. Carnegie possessed an unnerving stillness, a calm conviction that commanded rooms. Rockefeller radiated an aura of imperturbable order. Edison vibrated with restless, tangible curiosity. Lincoln's weary frame carried an unmistakable gravity of purpose. Their belief wasn't just mental, it was embodied. It resonated in their posture, their gaze, their handshake, the timbre of their voice. Hill spoke of the vibrations of success emitted by those who truly believe. This isn't mystical. It's the observable effect of the mind-body connection operating at peak conviction. When your belief is ironclad, forged through every trial we've described, it alters your biochemistry. Stress hormones decrease, clarity hormones rise. Your posture straightens, not from affectation, but from the inner architecture of certainty. Your voice gains resonance, carrying the weight of your conviction. Your eyes hold a steady light that disarms doubters and attracts allies. This embodied belief is your unspoken credential. It communicates power and reliability before you utter a word. It's the X factor others can't define but instinctively trust. How do you cultivate it? Through conscious embodiment rituals. It starts with breath, deep diaphragmatic breaths that anchor you in the present moment and signal safety to your nervous system, creating the physiological foundation for unwavering belief. It involves posture, standing and moving as the sovereign of your domain commands, shoulders back, spine aligned, head held high, radiating the physical signature of your inner authority. It requires power pauses, moments before critical interactions, decisions, or actions where you consciously drop into your core, recall your definite chief aim with visceral intensity, feel the certainty flood your body, and then engage. It's not faking, it's becoming. It's Lincoln pausing before delivering the Gettysburg Address, connecting not just to the words, but to the bone-deep belief in the cause he was fighting for, allowing that resonance to infuse every syllable. It's the athlete before the race, not just visualizing victory, but feeling the surge of power in their muscles, the calm focus in their mind, embodying the belief in their own capacity. Your body is the instrument through which your belief interacts with the world. Tune it. Play it with conviction. Let your very presence broadcast the unshakable reality you are committed to creating. When your inner resonance matches the frequency of your belief, you become a walking, talking force field of possibility, bending the world around you towards your purpose. This is the ultimate integration. Mind, body, spirit, and belief vibrating as one unstoppable harmonic. The path of the weapon is not paved, it is forged underfoot, hammered into existence by the collision of your indomitable belief with the alchemy of obstacles. The average mind sees a wall, the Titan sees the raw material for their next bridge. The untrained spirit feels the sting of rejection, the sovereign recognizes the recalibration of approach. This is the supreme refinement. Edison didn't endure 10,000 failures. He conducted 10,000 quality control tests on his own belief and methodology, each no revealing impurities in the process, demanding a purer alloy of persistence and ingenuity. Carnegie faced devastating strikes, market crashes, accusations of monopoly, not as signals to quit, but as complex puzzles demanding innovative solutions that ultimately strengthened his systems and deepened his understanding of human enterprise. Lincoln's presidency was an unending gauntlet of military disaster, political treachery, and paralyzing grief. Yet each crushing blow became the anvil upon which his belief in unity and human dignity was hammered into an instrument of unparalleled moral force. The obstacle is not the opposite of your path. It is the path, sculpted into its necessary, often brutal form, to reveal the true depth of your conviction and the flexibility of your strategy. Elon Musk staring down rocket explosions that incinerated hundreds of millions, facing bankruptcy, relentless public ridicule. Each catastrophe wasn't proof of folly, but validation of the scale of the endeavor and the absolute necessity of his belief in humanity's multiplanetary future. He didn't retreat, he refined, he learned, he adapted the how with ferocious speed, while the why, the unshakable belief in the mission, burned brighter than the flames on the launch pad. Oprah Winfrey, overcoming poverty, abuse, and early career setbacks labeled as not fit for TV, transformed every barrier into a stepping stone, not by ignoring the pain, but by alchemizing it into empathy, authenticity, and a belief in human potential so potent it built a media empire on truth-telling. The obstacle, met with belief in action, becomes the catalyst for exponential growth. It forces innovation, the Wright brothers constantly modifying their design. It reveals hidden weaknesses in your plan or character, Ford confronting the limitations of the Model T. It strips away non-essentials, focusing your belief and resources with laser intensity, Lincoln shedding ineffective generals, refining his war strategy through brutal trial. It teaches resilience not as theory, but as lived, embodied truth. The universe doesn't send obstacles to stop you, it sends them to strengthen the weapon, to prove its mettle, to ensure that when you finally grasp the summit, you possess the unbreakable character worthy of the view. Embrace the friction, welcome the detour, study the obstacle like Edison studied a failed filament. Ask, what is this really teaching me? How is it forcing me to evolve? Where is the hidden leverage point? Your belief, when tempered in this crucible, doesn't diminish. It becomes denser, sharper, radiating an aura of proven capability that silences doubt and commands respect. And as your weapon grows sharper, your creation takes form, your legacy unfolds. A paradoxical law of this universe asserts itself with undeniable force. To increase your power, you must give it away. This is not weakness, it is the ultimate generosity imperative, the magnetic core of sustained abundance. Hill observed it in every enduring giant. Carnegie pouring his fortune into libraries, believing knowledge was the true engine of progress. Rockefeller funding medical research that eradicated diseases, understanding that human potential was the ultimate resource. Ford's revolutionary $5 day, not mere charity, but a profound belief that empowering workers created a healthier, more stable market and society, fueling his own vision. Their belief expanded beyond self. It recognized that true power multiplies through contribution, not hoarding. Edison shared his discoveries through systems like General Electric, believing light belonged to the world. Lincoln's belief in union wasn't for personal glory, but for the preservation of an idea that could uplift millions. This is the vortex of amplification. When your belief matures into a force focused on creating value beyond yourself, solving problems, empowering others, advancing understanding, enriching the human experience, it enters a new harmonic. It resonates at a frequency that attracts unprecedented goodwill, loyalty, resources, and opportunity. Why? Because the universe, in its profound intelligence, recognizes a conduit for positive energy. You become a node in the network of growth. People are drawn not just to your success, but to the purpose radiating from your belief. Talented individuals want to join your legion not just for gain, but because they feel their own potential amplified by your mission. Resources flow more readily because they are seen not as ends, but as fuel for a meaningful fire. Oprah Winfrey exemplifies this. Her belief in authenticity, healing, and human potential wasn't confined to her show. It flowed into her book club, her network, her philanthropy, her entire ecosystem. She gave voice, opportunity, and resources to countless others, amplifying her impact exponentially and creating a legacy far beyond ratings. Elon Musk open-sourced Tesla patents, believing accelerating the electric vehicle revolution was more important than monopolizing the technology, a move that expanded the entire market and solidified his company's leadership position. Generosity, born from deep belief in a larger purpose, is the high-velocity fuel for your weapon. It transforms you from a solitary warrior into a catalyst for collective ascent. It banishes the scarcity mindset forever. It generates a compounding interest of goodwill and synchronicity that mere self-interest cannot replicate. Give your knowledge freely. Teaching attracts mastery. Mentor with genuine investment. Building allies builds empires. Share your platform. Amplifying others amplifies your resonance. Invest in causes aligned with your core purpose. Strengthening the ecosystem strengthens your foundation. This isn't charity, it's strategic empowerment. The conscious circulation of the energy generated by your belief. The more you give from your core conviction, the more the universe replenishes your source, sharpens your weapon, and expands the territory of your impact. Your belief becomes a self-sustaining star, radiating light that draws all things necessary towards its purpose. This journey, wielding the weapon through creation, obstacle, focus, generosity, demands the eternal student. Belief ossified is belief dead. The true master understands that the pinnacle of knowing is the realization of infinite ignorance. This is perpetual recalibration. Hill emphasized lifelong learning not as a chore but as the essential oxygen for living belief. Edison remained a voracious reader and experimenter until his final days, his belief in discovery fueled by the constant influx of new ideas and the humility to admit he didn't have all the answers. Carnegie, the steel titan, became a dedicated student of philosophy, philanthropy, and world affairs, constantly refining his understanding of wealth and responsibility. Lincoln immersed himself in military strategy and constitutional law during the Civil War, adapting his leadership based on brutal new lessons daily. Their belief wasn't dogma. It was a living, breathing entity that grew stronger by assimilating new information, challenging its own assumptions, and evolving its understanding. The weapon must be constantly honed. The map must be constantly updated. The modern titan understands this. Musk delves into rocket physics, battery chemistry, neural lace biology, not as a dilettante, but because his belief in transformative futures demands mastering the underlying principles. Oprah's decades-long exploration of human psychology, spirituality, and storytelling wasn't just for content. It was the fuel refining her belief in human potential and her methods for awakening it. How do you embody this? Cultivate insatiable curiosity. Approach every person, every failure, every new field as a potential teacher. Ask why and how with the relentless drive of a child. Embrace the beginner's mind. Shed the arrogance of expertise. Enter new domains with humility, willing to be wrong, eager to learn. Ruthlessly update your mental models. When evidence contradicts a deeply held belief about your market, your strategy, or yourself, have the courage to dismantle and rebuild. Seek disconfirming evidence. Actively look for data that challenges your assumptions. This isn't undermining belief, it's stress-testing it, forging it into something unbreakably true. Learn across domains. Draw inspiration from biology for your business strategy, from music for your leadership, from history for navigating crisis. The principles of power are universal. The eternal student understands that the depth of their belief is directly proportional to the breadth and depth of their understanding. Stagnant belief attracts decay. Evolving belief commands the future. Your weapon remains razor-sharp only if you are perpetually willing to grind it against the whetstone of new knowledge, experience, and hard-won wisdom. This is the antidote to arrogance, the engine of enduring relevance. Your belief becomes not a static monument, but a river, powerful, persistent, and constantly renewing itself from the source. Feel it now. The weight, the heat, the hum of pure potential vibrating in your grasp. This weapon, conceived in primordial fire, defined by clarity of purpose, forged in the discipline of action, tempered by resilience in adversity, sharpened by adaptability and learning, amplified by the alliance of giants, proven in the act of creation, focused by unbroken resonance, expanded by a legacy mindset, embodied in sovereign presence, refined by the alchemy of obstacles, fueled by the generosity imperative, and sustained by the eternal student within. This is not merely a tool. It is the architect of your existence. It is the conductor of reality's symphony. It is the unseen hand shaping the clay of circumstance into the statue of your destiny. From the dim workshops of Menlo Park to the war rooms of Washington, from the assembly lines of Detroit to the launch pads of Cape Canaveral, from the trauma of a Mississippi childhood to the global stage of human connection, the echo is undeniable. The fundamental law stands immutable. What the mind can conceive and believe, the mind can achieve. Carnegie proved it in steel. Edison proved it in light. Ford proved it in motion. Lincoln proved it in unity. Musk proves it against the vacuum of space. Oprah proves it in the landscape of the human heart. The substance differs. The principle is eternal. Your circumstances are not your cage. They are your unique crucible. Your past is not your prison. It is the ore from which your belief is smelted. Your doubts are not truths. They are the friction that ignites the proving fire. The world trembles on the edge of chaos? Good. Chaos is the raw material for the builder, the innovator, the believer. The noise is deafening? Perfect. Your belief, focused and resonant, cuts through it like a diamond through glass. The challenges seem insurmountable? Look again. They are not walls, but invitations to forge the next, mightier iteration of your weapon, to discover a strength you never knew resided within the core of your conviction. History doesn't whisper, it roars with proof. The pyramids didn't build themselves. The light didn't conquer darkness by wishing. The nation wasn't saved by doubt. The car didn't mobilize the world through hesitation. The rocket doesn't pierce the heavens on maybes. It was done by those who believed the impossible was merely a temporary label, waiting for the relentless application of faith in action. So stop. Stop waiting for the perfect sign. The sign is your heartbeat. The sign is the tremor of that ancient fire within your chest. Stop begging for permission. Permission is granted by your unyielding decision. Your definite chief aim etched in the steel of your will is your mandate. Stop feeding the ghosts of yesterday. Your past is fuel, not fate. Burn it in the furnace of your forward thrust. Stop listening to the chorus of can't. Their doubt is the static of their own disarmed potential. Tune it out. Your frequency is belief in motion. Ignite the furnace. Define your mountain. Not a hill, a mountain. See its peak glistening. Feel the rock beneath your boots. Let its scale excite your spirit, not intimidate it. Write it, speak it, breathe it. Clarity is your compass. Swing the hammer. Discipline is devotion. Action is prayer. Move. Now. Not tomorrow. Not when you feel ready. Ready is a myth forged by doubt. Sweat is the baptism of your belief. Effort is the language the universe understands. Momentum is built brick by agonizing brick. Show up. Do the work. Build your proof. Rise from the impact. When you fall, and you will fall, rise with the ferocity of a titan. Let resilience be your unbroken spine. Analyze the fall. Learn. Adapt. Pivot. Obstacles are your advanced training. Reframe failure as fuel. Rejection as redirection. Auto-suggest your victory. Flood your mind with the feeling of the summit. Command your inner world. I am. I can. I will. Sharpen the blade. Learn voraciously. Observe relentlessly. Listen deeply. Knowledge is your whetstone. Be the eternal student. Challenge your assumptions. Seek the wisdom in the fall, in the ally, in the unknown. Adapt or petrify. Summon the legion. Your belief is a beacon. Seek the giants. Find the resonant souls. Build your master mind. Collaborate with fire. Amplify each other. Alone you are a spark. Together you are a conflagration. Give generously from your core. Generosity is your amplifier. Create with fury. Translate belief into tangible form. Build. Make do. Let your creation be your argument against impossibility. Your monument to persistence. Your legacy in motion. Focus with laser intensity. Guard your resonance. Eliminate distraction. Design your environment for belief. Embody your certainty. Your presence is your unspoken power. Command your destiny. The secret is out. The secret was always within. Napoleon Hill handed you the map. The giants left you the proof. The weapon is in your hands, forged by fire, proven by history, charged with your unique potential. Now, wield it. Final resonance voice drops to a deep, unshakable whisper, vibrating with absolute certainty. Ignite, build, rise, ally, create, focus, embody, give, command. The world isn't waiting for your belief. It's waiting for what your belief compels you to do. Begin. Not tomorrow, now. This breath, this heartbeat, this moment. Seize the weapon. Forge your reality. The only thing ever truly requires your decision to believe, and then to begin.